Okay, so it is time and we are here. We have approached my honest, should you buy it, overview of The Division. Now, there is so much to talk about in this review, it's going to be pretty long. So what you guys probably should do is pause this and go get you something to drink and something to snack on, because there's quite a bit to talk about. Some very good and some very bad. So, you ready? Okay, so let's get into this review. Now, before I begin, I'm going to start with the story. But before I do that, I want to explain some situations with this game that happened. And I'm going to have to explain the story portion as well, because some of you may view the story portion of this as a spoiler. So I'm going to tell you when the spoiler part may come and where to skip to, so that you don't have to have the game spoiled for yourself if you don't want it. Now, however, some of you guys will actually want to know what the story is, because apparently there were people who actually played this game and they actually never understood the story. There were some people that actually got bits and pieces of the story, and then some people actually just were confused. So before I begin, let me explain the politics behind the review copies of The Division. If you are a reviewer, you are not allowed a review copy of Tom Clancy The Division. Now, Ubisoft has been doing this with certain games, and last notably, we saw this with Assassin's Creed Unity. So this is actually a bad sign. However, the claim from somebody is that the reason for this is because they didn't want anybody to get a jump on the game before anybody else, I guess, i.e. surprises. So hopefully the surprises will be a good thing. However, due to the fact that the game is looking for an internet connection just to be played, I tend to look down on games like this, because if you do not have an internet connection, you cannot play your game. However, if the server or services are not working properly, you cannot play your game. Now, I remember this actually happened to me with Destiny on PlayStation, so I'm a little bit disappointed that games are actually still doing this. So with all of the politics aside, let's begin this review of The Division. Story. Okay, this portion of the review, I'm going to let you know in advance now that you may want to skip past this part. I'm going to tell you what part to skip and when to come back, because some people will play this game and never fully understand the story. Some people will not understand it at all, and some people will want to challenge themselves to find out, and some people will get it. Now, the reason for this, I believe, is because this is actually something similar to Destiny. You understood the story, but they never really told you the whole thing. And when you beat the game, you obviously know that you felt like you didn't really beat the game. They let you actually know that there was going to be more to the game. So this is a similar kind of situation here. So I'm going to tell you what part to skip. And if you don't want to know any spoilers about the story, and I'm just going to explain how the virus spread, because this is the one thing that people are confused about. If you don't want to know how the virus spread, skip 2 minutes from now, and you will not have that spoiled for you. Okay, so here's your last chance. Skip 2 minutes. Okay, so for those of you who stuck around, this is how the virus actually spread. The game takes place in New York City 3 days after Black Friday is when the outbreak started, is because the disease, which is believed to be a super form of pox, was actually spread through the exchange of money. That is why this happened at Black Friday, and a lot of people may not know that. So apparently on Black Friday, a lot of money was exchanging because people were buying gifts, and somebody was sick with what's to believe to be an experimental form of the pox that was released, and it was spreading rapidly throughout the cities of America and around the world. Now, some people thought that this was just New York, but it's actually global, and you will find it out if you play the game. So let me do a background breakdown of The Division and what it actually is as well. Now, for those of you who actually didn't want that part spoiled, you can come back. If you are hearing this right now, you are out of the spoiler part of the game. Now, I'm going to do a breakdown on the Division characters and the agents and what they are. Okay, the JTF is the Joint Task Force of people who were assimilated by the government when they realized that things like the 9/11 attacks and things of this nature were something that could collapse an economy if people were not put into play for things like riots and collapses. Now, if you live in New York, if you ever remember the gas shortage that happened, I actually saw something very similar to this with people actually rioting and fighting for gas and selling themselves and doing a lot of crazy things. So you actually could see something like this realistically happening. So in the real world, this is actually something that could happen. And I believe that they probably actually do have agents like this all over the world. So this is actually a realistic story. So with that being said, let's get into what's happening here. You are an agent who was trained and put into a sleeper cell inside of New York. You are activated when the outbreak starts to occur, and your job is to actually keep everybody civil and ride this thing out. You are an agent of the JTF, and your job is simple: suppress any non-legal activities and keep people at bay and help anybody who is in need. It's that simple. That is the story of The Division. If you have any questions about any other details about the story you want to know, just ask me in the comment section. So let's move right along to the other portion of this. Controls. Once again, this is a topic for The Division that is going to have a breakdown because there's so much going on here, good and bad. Now, there's going to be good things and bad things about it. There's no other way to go around it. This is just what it is. This is what they chose to do, and this is what we have to talk about. So I'm going to be brutally honest about the controllers. They kind of suck. Now, why do they kind of suck? I'm going to get into the positive, and then I'll get into the negative, and you decide for yourself whether you like this or not, because once again, this is just my honest opinion of it. Okay, the controls for the game are my favorite. I love third-person shooters, particularly over first-person shooters and any other kind of shooters. So right up my alley are these controls. The buttons, the layouts, everything's fine. Everything's perfect about that. But then you have little quirky things that happen that make you question, why would somebody be doing this in real life if they can do all of this other stuff? What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the actual cover shoot system. You can get busy by standing behind walls and cover and just kill anybody you can as long as you can secure position, which is tactical. I get that. That's a great thing to do. But then you have this thing where if you notice an enemy and you're coming down a block and you're trying to get a good shot at them, they will magically notice you before you notice them sometimes and things of this nature. And that happens. I get it. It's video games. But here's the problem. If there's a couple of them and they start shooting at you and you're not near cover, all you could do is stand and shoot back. You can't duck. You can't do anything evasive other than roll. Now, a game like this, why is there no crouching system or no lay down cover system? It just doesn't make sense to me that a person would just stand there like that if they're getting shot at. So that's one of those things where the game is being realistic, but then it's also being silly, because you can duck fine if you're behind cover, and you actually have to use cover to actually do these things. And it just baffles my mind that they would actually not think to just have a duck cover mechanic in the game. Now, of course, this was actually done on purpose, but for what reason, I do not know. Maybe to make it not like Destiny, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it just doesn't make sense that they did that. And it's one of the things that kind of just would have made the controller perfect. Now, when you play the cover system, you will notice automatically that it's reminiscent of Gears of War. Now, this is one of the times that a game takes something from another game and it does it, and you're happy to see it, and it just feels good. So there are good and there are bad. The good is that, yes, it does what Gears of War needs to do, and it does it really well to the point where you're actually glad and you don't feel like it's a ripoff. You feel like it makes sense. It's part of the game. It adds to the fun, and it's good. However, things like not being able to duck when you're in the middle of the street and not near cover will actually ultimately lead to you getting killed, especially by other players if you're in a dog zone and things are happening and people are going rogue. You have to really, really rely on the Gears of War cover, duck, run, shoot patterns. So with that being said, the controls are 50-50. Overall, they're pretty good, but they're lacking simple things that to me should be in the game. Graphics. Well, this is actually another interesting topic. People were complaining about the downgrades to The Division, particularly people who are on PC. Console, however, got something that was pretty interesting, and it's actually trend-setting, and it's innovative, and it's something that actually needs to be applauded. The console, for the first time that I've noticed, has had actual PC functionality added to the game, where you can choose to increase your graphics and lessen your performance, or improve your performance and actually lessen your graphics. This is amazing for console. However, PC was a little bit pissed off at the fact that with the hardware, it should actually look better. So I remember telling people on Twitter that if you know anything about Tom Clancy developers, particularly the PC version, They usually add a texture pack to their games to actually improve them down the line after the console guys get comfortable and they make their sales and they kind of sneak it in through the back door for the PC guys and go, hey, we didn't forget about you. You understand the politics and BS. Here you go. Now, apparently, what do we have on the day one patch coming to the game? We have a graphics improvement update coming to PC and wink wink console. But we all know this is actually going to be something particularly more credible to the PC port. If you don't, I'm telling you. So with that being said, graphically the game automatically looks amazing, but I did notice in the last beta that the graphics look downgraded, and I actually once again stated this on Twitter and was told by people that I was bugging, and yes, I was actually right. The graphics were definitely, something was wrong, and they're apparently acknowledging that they have to fix a couple of things, and when you get the game on day one, the game will actually have more graphical improvements to things like the lighting, the glow, and things of that nature. So pretty much it's going to be more enhancements to the graphics to make it more pretty, especially at nighttime, I'm hearing. So graphically, you cannot complain about the game no matter what, because once again, what game gives you an option to improve graphics or performance? That's pretty good, and I actually commend them for doing that, and I like to see a lot more of that on console. I start seeing that on console, hey, PC might get put in the closet. Who knows? But anyway, with that being said, graphically, the game is amazing. There's not much you can say. You have the day and the night cycle, the lighting, the graphics, the dark zone. The dark zone tends to have this eerie look. And with the buildings having little lights and things of that nature here and there, the ambiance is pretty amazing. You know, the interiors of the buildings are pretty good, even though some of them are pretty much generic. And some of the assets are taken from other games by Uplay and by Ubisoft. But it's cool. It's cool. And when I say Uplay, I mean Ubisoft. But it's cool because, you know, assets are assets, whatever it takes. You see some things from Watch Dogs in here, things of that nature. But with that being said, graphically, you can't really complain. Even though it does not look like the E3 mod, the game looks amazing, gorgeous. I actually really, really love graphics, as you guys may know. And graphically, I'm giving this thing a perfect 10. Is it the best graphically looking game I've ever seen? No, but it is definitely good enough that I would not complain about the graphics. So for you people like me out there who actually like graphics, because everybody says, it's not about graphics, it's not about... Yes, it is. It looks very pretty, and I'm very happy with the graphics. That's something I cannot say anything bad about. I actually have to say good things about it because of the fact that they added functionality options to actually change these things on console. Never saw that before, me personally, and I thought that was pretty damn dope. So with that being said, let's move on. Okay, let's take it home in this review. This is the portion of the review where I usually do like the features and I give my final thoughts. But there's a lot to talk about here because there's a lot wrong. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to say that because that's what you people need to understand. Well, first of all, let's start off as to why you're looking at beta footage and not the actual game. They refused to actually let the game release before the actual release date. And the reasoning for that, of course, which I said in the beginning of the video, is because they wanted everybody to play it the first time. However, that's usually a bad sign when they do that, because that means they're hiding something and they want everybody to find this out at the same time. Is it going to be a surprise? It probably might be, but will it be worth whatever they're going to do? Like servers not working and things of that nature? We have to wait and see. So with that being said, let's break down what actually happened. Now, nobody was allowed to get a review copy of the game as the servers are not up. So even if you had a review copy, you couldn't play it. I was able to actually get my hands on a retail copy of this game a few days ago. And like I said, it was confirmed that yes, when you put the disc in, you cannot boot up the game and play. All you can do is go to the menu and you will be greeted with a message telling you that the servers are not operational. So they made sure nobody could see what was going on with the game before you actually buy it. So with that being said, normally in a review, I would tell you, yeah, you should go get the game. I enjoyed the beta a lot, but I honestly have to tell you, I would not get this game day one. I would actually wait and see what the hell is going on and why are they being so suspicious about this. And why did they do so many shady things with the game, like take things out, remove content, not let people get review copies? There's so many red flags not to buy the game. Now, with that being said, let's get into what I did like about the game. The game is fun. However, once again, I'm going to be honest, and that's what I'm doing here. You should not play this game unless you have friends to play with. And by friends, I mean try to have 4 people in a party. If you do not have 4 people in a party, you are subject to the person with the biggest party with the biggest guns. If you are solo and you go into the dark zone, you will probably really not enjoy your time with this game. I'm a person that does not rely on playing online with people. So I tried this game from both sides, my normal side being solo and my side with friends, and man, the experience is completely different. If you play by yourself, you will probably hate this game or hate the dog zone. If you are willing to make friends, however, you can meet up at different points in the map and they will show you, and you can make friends and you can go into parties and you can have fun. The positive about this is if you do have a friend or two, you will love this game. You will enjoy this game. I honestly can tell you, if you have friends and y'all like co-op and you want to play a good game, then you definitely should just pick this up and wait till 12 and play the game and enjoy and have a blast. I mean, at the end of the day, it has a lot of content. It is enough to support a $60 purchase. The season pass is something that you may want to wait for. You may want to get it day one. I, however, did go ahead and just get the whole gold edition and call it a day. But like I said, you will consider not buying this day one, definitely, if you are somebody who does not play in groups. This is not the game that you want to buy day one. You want to see how this game is for people like me who play without parties, and then you want to see what the reviews have to say. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend this game as a should you buy it. I will, however, have a day one patch for this game where once the patch is out, I will revisit the game and give you my opinion on, okay, with this patch, is this game definitely worthy of buying, and who's it worthy of buying for? So if you really want the final word on should you buy this game, then simply come to my channel and watch the video that will be released on March 8th telling you, okay, after the day one patch, this is what I think, because as you know, I did a day one patch for Street Fighter and I told people what I thought, and a lot of people actually agreed with me. So with that being said, The Division is definitely a good game, and it's one of those games that caters to groups. It is very much a lot like Destiny in that sense, but Destiny was different. I could play Destiny by myself and easily find people to go into raids with. This game will actually have a lot of the stuff that Destiny had with raids, but they will call it insurgents. They will have trading if you're in a group and I get a gun and you get my stock scope, or you get a skin and you want to trade with me for my gun, you can actually do that. But these are updates that will come after the game has released, of course. So that's why I said I do have a series called the Day One Patch, where I tell you about these important updates and things of that nature. So once again, I will reiterate, if you are somebody who does not play in groups and you are just antisocial, probably a lot like me, you do not want to buy this game day one. I do have friends that I'm going to be playing with, so I brought this game because I enjoy it, solo or not. Now, you can keep in mind that you can play this game solo and actually not even have to visit the dog zone or not have to be bothered with the dog zone if you want to really play this game. You do not have to let that be intimidating to you, because you can actually play missions and you can actually get some of the stuff from the dog zone, which is like 99.9% of the stuff, by actually crafting things that you get from regular missions. However, once again, if you play the missions can be more fun if you play with friends and do the challenges, because there's some challenges you have to be in a group to do. So this game heavily encourages group play. So that's why I'm saying, if you are somebody that is not into group play, then you definitely do not want to get this game. Now, with that being said, before I leave, I'm going to talk about a few more other things about the game. Now, a lot of people have been complaining about enemies being bullet sponges, and I have to admit that the only thing that I find strange is if you're headshotting a person who has on a hoodie, it is very much unrealistic that they do not die off 1 or 2 headshots. However, you do have to keep in mind that this is an RPG, and in RPG games, when you shoot somebody and numbers pop out of their head, this is actually part of what an RPG is. So guys, maybe being a little too hard on the realism versus the unrealistic portions of the shootings and what people look like and have armor. People keep comparing this to Destiny, saying that was more understandable because those were aliens with armor on. Well, you have to understand, this is an RPG, so you can't just shoot somebody in the head and they die and just run around headshotting everyone crazy and killing everything, because then it would not be an RPG, it would be a God PG, because you would be God. You would be Neo in the Matrix. So with that being said, keep all of those things in mind, because I hear a lot of the negativity that people are complaining about. Is it a running simulator? Well, let me just give you guys some information on that as well. You can unlock things in the game, and when you unlock them, you can fast travel to them to shorten or take away from all of the running in the game. But yes, you do originally have to lock certain locations of the game, but once you do, you can fast travel between points. So the running is a little bit over exaggerated that people experienced in the beta. Now, a lot of you people who actually played the beta were concerned about the NPCs and the amount of people actually in the streets. That is actually going to be increased when the game is released, because this was actually done on purpose for the beta. You will see more people in the streets. You will see more NPCs. You will see a lot more activity and life on the streets of the game. So for those people who had those complaints, I can tell you that in the retail copy, all of that stuff is actually not there. It's rectified, and it's a lot more activity and life on the streets of New York. So hopefully this overview, and should you buy it, of The Division was helpful to you guys. I do have a lot of information on the game. I actually do have a retail copy, and I do have it for PC. So if you people do want to play with me on PC, of course you can add me. Me and some of my friends will be playing this day one immediately. And like I said, if you have any questions about the game, or you want to know something that I did not cover in the review, just ask me in the comment section. If you have any thoughts on the game, ask me in the comment section, and let me know what you think. And honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed that I had to recommend this not be a day one purchase, but let's be honest, the shady tactics that we've seen before from this company indicate that you may not want to buy this game until the reviews come out that are after the game releases. Like I said, I do my reviews, my should you buy it, and then I do a day one patch where I break down all of the final notes of everything, because a lot of games that we review, unfortunately now, when we review them like Street Fighter, we get a build of the game that is designed specifically to run properly, and then when they release the retail disc, that's the same thing you get as a digital download. Those patches are not there, and man, the game can end up being broken, servers could be overloaded, and things of that nature. So if the servers end up being overloaded, I have to come back on Monday and tell you, wait, don't get it, they have a problem, let's fix it. So that's the reason for the second follow-up to the review, which is, like I said on my series, the day one patch. So look forward to that video on March 8th if you want to know anything that I left out, or if you want the final word on after these patches, what's going on, if the game's working properly, if they fix things, if there's any dirty little secrets, any of that stuff. So that'll be in that video. I'm out of here. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace. Okay, so far as what we know is the story of Street Fighter. The story of Street Fighter 5 actually is a prequel to Street Fighter 4 and takes place between Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 4. The events of this Street Fighter surround a secret organization other than Shadow Lu that is being referred to as something like the Illuminati. This organization has been planning to take over the world, and of course, everybody in Street Fighter plays a role of either helping and aiding taking over the world, or destroying it, or preventing this from happening. Of course, we will not know the full story until June, but in the meantime, you do get to play cinematic story modes from individual characters. So with that being said, on day one of release, every character does have a unique cutscene story mode, which is not cinematic, but actually something similar to what you may find on one of the